Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. RHOSLC Heather Gay confronts her Mormon past in new show. Bravo viewers met Heather Gay in 2020 as part of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She was the only star without a significant other. At the time, Heather was close friends with Jen Shah, but their friendship fell apart after Jen was sentenced to prison for fraud. With Jen out of the picture, Heather became front and center on the reality show. Bravo just announced that she will headline her own show that goes even deeper into her traumatic past with the Mormon Church. Bravo chose Salt Lake City, Utah, for a spin-off of the popular Real Housewives series, partly because of the public's interest in the Mormon religion. Most of the RHOSLC cast are current or former members of the faith. Heather Gay has been vocal about leaving the faith. She was officially kicked out, but left on her own. The Bravo star felt pushed out of the religion and community after her divorce. Heather Gay detailed her decision in the 2023 memoir, Bad Mormon. She followed it up in 2024 with another book, Good Time Girl. RHOSLC has featured Heather Gay's traumatic past in the Mormon Church, including estrangement from family and friends. Her co-star and cousin, Whitney Rose, also left the Mormon Church, which actually caused issues between them. After leaving the church, Whitney Rose recalled past abuse, but felt her cousin was dismissive. 2 books and 6 seasons of RHOSLC weren't enough to cover how deep the wounds of the Mormon faith go for Heather. She stars in a new Bravo show, digging deeper into her past. Surviving Mormonism with Heather Gay is a 3-part series that features the RHOSLC star having tough conversations with survivors of the Mormon Church. The trailer for the new show revealed that one of the conversations is with David Matheson. He was nicknamed the godfather of gay conversion therapy. Now out as a gay man himself, he opens up to Heather Gay about his past. She also talks to former friends who were abused through the church and ignored. The first episode premieres on Bravo on November 11, 2025. All 3 episodes stream on Peacock the next day. The upcoming series received mixed reactions from Bravo fans. One fan wrote, "Why all could VE kept this, we don't like Heather Gay, she's already annoying enough on SLC with that Mormon talk." A second Bravo holic added, "We could VE just had a fun little spin-off at Angie's salon, not y'all beating the dead horse of Mormonism." But one Bravo fan defended the network. They wrote that the show isn't about Heather Gay. It's about exposing the Mormon Church and the victims. The timing of the Bravo show comes amid ABC casting Secret Lives of Mormon Wives star Taylor Frankie Paul as the next Bachelorette. Are you interested in Heather Gay's new show, or do you think she's spoken out about the Mormon Church enough? Heather Gay has never been one to shy away from hard truths. From the moment she burst onto the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, the outspoken entrepreneur and mother of 3 has been a lightning rod for discussions about religion, shame, and personal transformation. But now, Heather is taking that conversation beyond the Bravo bubble and directly into the heart of her own story with a new show that boldly revisits the faith she left behind, Mormonism. The project, tentatively titled Leaving the Fold, is part confessional, part cultural excavation. It follows Heather as she reconnects with former members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints LDS, confronts family memories, and unpacks the complex emotional residue of a belief system that shaped her identity for decades. It's not about mockery or revenge. Instead, it's an intimate, sometimes painful journey toward reconciliation with her past, her faith, and herself. A star shaped by faith and the fallout of leaving it, Heather's Mormon background was one of the first things viewers learned about her in Season 1 of RHOSLC. She proudly described herself as Mormon royalty descended from generations of devout Latter-day Saints who adhered to the religion's strict moral code. But she also made it clear she no longer fit within that world. Her divorce, Her candid humor, and her willingness to question authority had effectively exiled her from a community she once revered. That inner tension, loving the culture but feeling betrayed by its rigid expectations, became Heather's defining storyline. It resonated deeply with fans who saw their own struggles reflected in her tears and laughter. Now, with her new series, she's ready to go even deeper. "This show is about truth," Heather shared in a recent interview. "Not the polished, perfect version of truth we're taught to uphold, but the messy, complicated truth about how faith can lift us up and break us down. I want to show what it really means to lose your religion and find yourself. Facing the past and those still in it." In Leaving the Fold, Heather travels across Utah and beyond, meeting with people who have left the LDS Church and those still wrestling with the decision. Some are scholars. Others are single parents, artists, or queer former missionaries who had to rebuild from the ground up. Their stories are raw, emotional, and deeply human. But perhaps the most gripping moments come when Heather turns the camera inward. Viewers will see her return to her childhood ward, confront painful memories of being labeled a bad Mormon, and sit down with family members who still practice. For Heather, the confrontation isn't about blame, it's about understanding. "I'm not angry anymore," she explains in the trailer. "I just want to know, how did we all learn to value perfection over compassion, and what happens when someone finally says, 'I can't pretend anymore'?" The footage reportedly captures one particularly emotional reunion with her mother, who has remained active in the church. Their conversation, raw, quiet, and unfiltered, highlights the emotional toll that religious divides can take on families. "I'm not trying to convert or deconvert anyone," Heather says in one scene. "I'm just trying to heal. From bad Mormon to truth teller." This new show feels like a natural evolution from Heather's best-selling memoir, Bad Mormon, where she first publicly detailed her departure from the LDS Church. In that book, she balanced humor and heartbreak as she chronicled her journey from obedient housewife to outspoken reality star. But while Bad Mormon was written from the perspective of survival, Leaving the Fold feels like it's about integration, about reconciling with the parts of her identity she once had to reject. She's not trying to burn bridges anymore, a source close to the production shared. She's trying to understand why those bridges were built in the first place. The tone of the series reportedly oscillates between emotional interviews and breathtaking Utah landscapes, snowy mountains, old meeting houses, and the red rocks of Moab, creating a visual metaphor for both the beauty and isolation of Mormon life. Heather narrates much of it herself, her voice vulnerable but confident, like someone who has learned to stand in her own truth even when it shakes. A mirror for millions. For many viewers, Leaving the Fold will hit close to home. Across social media, ex-members of the LDS Church, often called ex-Mormons, have praised Heather for using her platform to spark an open dialogue about issues that have long been taboo: purity culture, patriarchy, mental health, and the pressure to appear perfect. "Heather is giving voice to something so many of us have lived through," one commenter wrote. "She's showing that you can love your roots and still outgrow them." Others see the series as a necessary corrective to the stereotypes surrounding Mormonism. "So often people think it's all about smiling families and green jello," Heather laughs in one episode. "But there's real pain and beauty in those pews. Real human stories that deserve to be told." Backlash and bravery. Of course, any project tackling religion, especially one as culturally influential as Mormonism, is bound to attract criticism. Some conservative voices have already accused Heather of mocking sacred beliefs or profiting from disillusionment. Heather, however, seems unfazed. "I knew this would be controversial," she admits. "But silence is what keeps so many people suffering. I've been that silent person. Not anymore." Her RHOSLC stars reportedly show mixed reactions. While Meredith Marks and Whitney Rose are said to be supportive, Lisa Barlow, a self-identified Mormon, has expressed discomfort with how the show might portray the faith. Still, Heather insists her goal isn't to alienate anyone. This isn't anti-Mormon, she told a reporter. It's pro-truth. And if we can't handle the truth, maybe that's what needs to change. A new chapter. As Heather embarks on this new chapter, there's a palpable sense that she's doing more than just producing television. She's building a movement. In many ways, leaving the fold is about spiritual evolution, the courage to question, and the freedom to rewrite your story. I don't think I left Mormonism behind, Heather says in the final scene of the pilot. I think I'm still carrying it, the love, the lessons, the contradictions. Maybe that's what faith really is, not certainty, but curiosity. In a culture that often rewards conformity, Heather Gay's willingness to expose her vulnerability feels revolutionary. She's not the perfect Mormon daughter anymore, and she's not trying to be. Instead, she's something rarer, a woman unafraid to shine light on the shadows of her past, knowing that the truth, however painful, can also set her free. And as the first clips from Leaving the Fold begin to circulate, one thing becomes clear: Heather Gay isn't just telling her story. She's telling the story of countless others who dared to step away from the only world they ever knew, to discover the one they were meant to create. A story about faith, loss, and self-liberation. It's the boldest chapter yet for a woman who refuses to stop evolving.